Night falls on Louisville's skyline, city lights reflected in the Ohio River, but in the shadow of downtown, in the crumbling West End, a different rhythm played out. Once a quiet pocket of middle-class neighborhoods, this corner of the city has seen homicide rates surge in recent years. By 2016, Metro Police reported over 45 homicides in just 8 months, twice the previous year's total. Law enforcement warned that Louisville had at least 25 distinct gangs operating within its borders. Gang members are contributing to violent crime, including homicides, Police Chief Steve Conrad later told city leaders. In this fractured landscape, hip-hop and gang life overlapped, and on a spring night in 2016, that overlap turned lethal. Brice Jamar Rhodes was 25, also known locally as Rambo, an aspiring rapper with a taste for violence. Videos on YouTube show Rhodes rapping under that alias, spitting bars about guns, drugs, and street life. News crews later unearthed tracks titled Snot, Body Armor, and Trappin Juggin, each brimming with pointed references to firearms and vice. In these clips, Rhodes swaggers in sunglasses and a hoodie, surrounded by friends and automatic pistols. The teens he later murdered even appeared alongside him in some videos, lured into this world as featured crew members. Rhodes grew up in West Louisville and had tangled with police long before the 2016 killings. Prosecutors noted he had a history of felony convictions, including kidnapping, criminal confinement, armed robbery, and intimidation. He had served prison time and even landed on Indiana's sex offender registry for holding a minor against her will. After release, Rhodes dove into music, using it both as art and street propaganda. On social media, he styled himself as part of the Dog Food Gang, posting that title on his Facebook page. Investigators later noted that Dog Food Gang appears to be a local spin on a California Bloods faction, tying Rhodes to a broader gang subculture rooted in Compton's Blood family. In short, the rapper lived a double life, chasing fame on the mic while running with a violent street crew. Rhodes' story did not emerge in a vacuum. West Louisville had long simmered with gang activity. Police archives show mid-2000s crews like the Victory Park Crips, also called the Rat Pack, once terrorized the West End, killing innocent people in brutal ambushes.
More local news here at 5. Federal agents are explaining why they are so desperate to find a pair of fugitives on the run in the Louisville area. U.S. Marshals and ATF agents tell us that Jacoby Summers and Jerlyn Horton are part of a new generation of the Victory Park Crips, a gang.
Well, Doug, investigators believe that these two men affiliated with the Victory Park Crips gang is responsible for a large number of the fentanyl deaths in the city, which is why they're trying to bring attention to this case. Investigators tell me the sooner they get them off the streets, the better.
By 2010, those old alliances had splintered, but new crews filled the void. The FBI and Metro PD warned that the city's drug and homicide spikes were fueled not by random chaos, but by gang networks driven by money and extreme violence. As Assistant Chief Kim Krasig admitted to city officials, Louisville's answer to gang issues is a resounding yes. Detectives explained that local gangs often cooperate on profitable crimes, blending turf lines. Their warfare is no longer the Hollywood-style shootouts, but the calculated execution of rivals or perceived traitors. Rhodes' own circle was a case in point. His Dog Food Gang label suggested allegiance to the Bloods culture. But investigators noted that in Louisville, gang identity was fluid. Members drift between alliances if it meant drug cash or street cred. In any event, Rhodes' beat was the West End, near streets like Haight Avenue and River Park Drive, the very blocks where he would later strike. There were no diplomatic summits of gang leaders on the city council stage. Instead, street whispers and graffiti charts mapped out who ruled which corner. The violence, detectives warned, was at a fever pitch. By mid-2016, the city's annual murder toll was skyrocketing past similarly sized cities, and headlines were filled with drive-bys, stabbings, and innocent bystanders caught in crossfire. Under those lights, a young rapper with a pistol in one hand and a microphone in the other was ripe for tragedy. The killings began on May 4, 2016. Around dusk on a quiet Wednesday, a 40-year-old man named Christopher Jones was gunned down on South 47th Street. He had been riding with Rhodes and two teenage brothers, 14-year-old Larry Ordway and 16-year-old Maurice G. Gordon, when shots rang out. A later co-defendant, Juan Carter, told jurors that he was trailing behind in a truck when Rhodes suddenly stepped out of the car and shot Jones at close range. Jones stumbled but managed to drive to the hospital, where he died hours later. No obvious motive emerged. Jones had no known gang ties, but law enforcement now considered it a slaying inside this circle, not a random act. Less than 3 weeks later, on May 27, 2016, the bodies of the Ordway brothers were discovered behind an abandoned house on River Park Drive. A homeowner found 2 charred corpses in a backyard fire pit late Sunday morning, and LMPD rushed in. The victims were identified as Larry Ordway and Maurice Gordon Jr., the same boys seen with Rhodes days earlier. Autopsies revealed they had suffered dozens of stab wounds and massive blunt force trauma. Then, their bodies had been doused with accelerant and set ablaze. Investigators later confirmed Rhodes stabbed the teens, then burnt their bodies. That blood evidence suggested the killer had cleaned the scene, even tearing up the carpet in his own home to wash away traces. The carnage was unimaginable. 2 laughing honor roll kids, the sons of a divorced mother, reduced to tortured, charred husks in the alley. That afternoon, police had enough clues to act. Witnesses at an unrelated shooting earlier that month began talking. Detectives obtained warrants and raided Rhodes' apartment on North Height Avenue. In his bedroom, they found blood spatter on the walls, 2 knives, and a hammer tools consistent with the wounds on the boys. Within hours, Brice Rhodes was in custody, charged with 3 counts of murder for Jones, Ordway, and Gordon, evidence tampering, and abuse of a corpse. He pleaded not guilty during his first court appearance. The judge set bail at $1 million. News of the killings shook Louisville. Crowds gathered around River Park Drive that evening. A child's bike lay abandoned near the makeshift memorials of flowers and toys for the dead brothers. In court, a visibly emotional Lieutenant Todd Kessinger, head of homicide, praised his detectives. They did outstanding work, some of the best I've seen, he told reporters, vowing that all evidence was on the table. Police withheld certain details, including motive, to avoid compromising the case. But for the victim's mother, Marie Wren, the pieces fit. She had known Rhodes socially and remembered the boys telling her they were afraid of him. Wren told reporters he was trying to recruit them to do his dirty work. When they realized how dangerous a guy he really was, that's when they were killed. By contrast, Metro detectives publicly noted that the teens were straight-A students doing well in school with no gang records. Their mother emphasized they were good students who were not in a gang, saying the snapshots of them with guns on social media were only a pose.
Accused triple murderer threatens a Louisville judge while claiming his own attorney's a racist. WDRB's Travis Ragsdale shows us what happened and why some believe he's playing the system. Travis.
Another day in court with Brice Rhodes and another wild day with cursing and outbursts.
Your job is to do your job, not to worry about me. That's what I'm saying. Well, I worry about me. You worry about yourself.
In typical Brice Rhodes fashion, he once again had that outburst at Judge Charles Cunningham on Thursday. It came during a pretrial hearing for the accused triple murderer. Rhodes was arguing that detectives are framing him for the May 2016 murders of Larry Ordway and Maurice Gordon. He's also accused of shooting and killing 40-year-old Christopher Jones around the same time.
2 Louisville homicide detectives, Mr. Tonelli and Mr. Griffin, both fabricated testimony and evidence they committed perjury.
He's facing the death penalty and, for the 3rd time, wants a new attorney.
You're not trying to give me a fair chance, effective counsel.
Well, who do you think I should give you as a lawyer?
I'll write the Bar Association and the ACLU.
Ordway and Gordon were found stabbed to death and burned in the backyard of a West Louisville home. After Rhodes' outburst in court Thursday,
you worry about yourself.
He had some parting words for Judge Cunningham.
You're gonna find out, though. You're gonna find out real quick. Promise that.
In the weeks that followed, Louisville's internet chatter exploded. Local message boards and Facebook threads offered theories. Some callers suggested Rhodes had marked the teens as snitches after the shooting of Jones. Others wondered if it was a gang initiation gone wrong. These rumors ran rampant even though police had not released such a motive. What was clear was the city's horror. Playgrounds fell eerily silent after dark, and parents of teens everywhere worried that another predator lurked under the cover of rap lyricism. As one local pastor told the Courier-Journal, this wasn't a fight between gangs, it was something more calculated, and it hit everyone close to home. By late spring 2016, Brice Rhodes was formally indicted on multiple felony counts, yet the full truth of why Jones and the 2 boys were killed was still unfolding. Even before the River Park Drive killings, Rhodes had a documented history of brutality. In fact, Louisville police records show Rhodes was charged with beating his own family. In September 2014, He allegedly grabbed his mother by the throat and punched her in the face while she was at home. A year later, in July 2015, he brutally attacked his girlfriend, punching her repeatedly as she cradled their infant child. These assaults earned him separate domestic violence charges and painted a chilling portrait of Rhodes' capacity for violence. In short, long before the triple murder, Rhodes had already been convicted of violent felonies. Clark County, Indiana prosecutors later noted that his criminal record included armed robbery, intimidation, and criminal confinement, kidnapping. One prior case involved abducting a minor, so serious that Rhodes was placed on Indiana's sex offender registry for criminal confinement of a victim less than 18 years old. In other words, Rhodes had an established pattern of violent crime, guns, threats, and physical confinement well before 2016. Rhodes allegedly attacked his elderly mother at home, grabbing her by the neck and striking her face. Police charged him with felony assault after the incident. While his rap videos and alias Rambo Guzman projected a gang image, investigators found no evidence of other gang homicides beyond 2016. A Louisville news report noted a Facebook profile in his name listing Dog Food Gang as his occupation, a nod to a Compton blood set, but police never identified an actual dog food gang operating here. In fact, Rhodes himself downplayed any gang ties when questioned. One detective bluntly asked him what gang he or his friends belonged to, and Rhodes sneered that he didn't even ask people about their affiliations. He essentially insisted he wasn't connected to any wider crime spree. Prosecutors too did not implicate him in any other killings. The only murders he was ever charged with were the 3 in 2016. In short, outside of court, it was dog speculation. No police file or court record ties Rhodes or any dog food crew to any other homicide. Online chatter has tried to fill that void with rumors, grisly theories, and unconfirmed social media posts, but none had basis in fact. Law enforcement never released information linking Rhodes to another victim, and no murder weapon or witness in any unrelated case pointed to him. Even the co-defendant testimony in court centered on the known 2016 murders. No witness named new victims or crimes. The only confirmed slayings in Rhodes' orbit remained those he was convicted of. As one local news summary stated flatly, Rhodes was found guilty on all counts in the murder of 3 people in May 2016, and only those 3. Any suggestion of additional victims is currently pure speculation, unsupported by court records or police reports.